I don't actually know what he's saying right now, but
it's saying that there's no intermodulation between the strings coming out of the same speaker. Like every single string is clean, I guess.
Yeah,
you can think of it that way.
Right.
Gotcha. Cool. Well, very good. Well, thanks for talking to us, Walter.
Gosh,
I really
y'all.
appreciate
What
it.
a-
Everybody's getting it straight from the source right here.
Leave
you
it
know?
to the guitar nerds to
Yeah.
hijack, man. I love
Right.
it.
Sorry.
No, it's me. It's my questions. Thanks, Walter.
We love
I
it.
appreciate you being here.
So I think we'll probably dip back into a little bit of the Phil talk. I know that some of this is out of Alaina's realm. We're going deep into the nerd talk, but
I'm listening.
I had mentioned earlier that 1999, that Warfield run, was a pretty big deal for a lot of people. And I mentioned to Alaina last week that people love to talk about the fact that it's cool because Phil played with the guys from Phish. Everybody, it's noted that show is great, and it is, but I think it is for a really no, I think it's just for
Perfect.
yeah.
Continue.
So those 1999 shows were amazing, and I was actually just listening to the first little bit on the drive over here, 33-minute viola blues to kick things off. I mean, if you listen to those shows, Jay?
What date we talking about? Sorry.
Well, the first show of the run would be April 15th, 1999. We listened to Hello Old Friends earlier with Steve
That's
Kemmock
just beautiful.
and Phil and his boys.
You've sent me the links before. I've heard a couple of the jams from them, but I don't know if I've heard the one you're talking about.
Well,
The 33-minute viola.
yeah.
Ooh.
And that's kind of, Phil's way.
Put on a little bit.
Yeah. Can we jam to something?
Yeah, absolutely.
We're in the cyber.
Phil.
Yeah, fill the air with the shit.
Fill the air. We'll give you a little bit. All right. Here's Viola Blues.
We're jump ahead like 2 minutes. Yeah, exactly. There we go. Sounds like fucking Phish.
I wonder why.
I told you.
Oh. That's my bad. So yeah, I mean, people love to talk about these shows, rightfully so. The jams are hot, like I said, right out the gate. 33 minutes of viola blues, and the shows just go on. I mean, you got Phil covering "Wish You Were Here" for Jerry with Trey and Paige and Steve Kemmock, and I think that the whole ethos of Phil and Friends was really kind of set in that moment.
Phil's just such a boy dad. He's just the daddy to so many men, including his own sons.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, no, I love it.
You know? But
he even, it's like he tried to save Ryan Adams so hard. And I respect that. It's, it can't always work out. You can't save everybody.
Right. And, I think that...
But you can save Trey, and you did.
True. And obviously, Phil had a very specific reason with his liver why he eventually went the sober path.
Well, he said it took 2 years. They were like, your liver is elevated, and then 2 years, and they're like, well, you have hepatitis not A or B. And then he said it took him 2 years to finally listen and actually quit chugging.
Yeah.
To really lay off to go to the Heine 0.0s.
So I think this.
You don't have to turn that off.
No, I'm just bringing it down a little bit here.
Nobody wants to hear me. They want to hear
So, like I said, everybody loves to talk about these shows, but I think that something that kind of gets missed in the context is not 6 months before he collapsed in his kitchen in front of his boys,
vomiting blood.
Yeah, not a pretty.
He had to go to Florida to get a liver.
Yeah,
because
and
it takes too long to get a liver in San Francisco.
Apparently so, and I believe he didn't know until later, but it could have been that he would have gotten that liver if not for Natasha, Bobby's wife. I guess her dad was a doctor and he pulled some strings, and at least that's the story that I heard on that. But I do have.
Were they the ones that told him to go to Florida? Are they the ones who gave him that tip? Or once they got there, then he was able to hook it up?
I think that he was the reason why he went to Florida to get the liver.
Whatever it is, yeah.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Exactly. But Phil, we were talking about before how it was really Bobby and Mickey were the ones that wanted to get on stage right after Jerry died. Phil kind of decided that he was fine, as did Billy for a little while. Of course, the other ones eventually happened.
Well, Bobby was playing the night Bobby was playing a Rat Dog show.
Right.
The day Jerry died.
And yep, in Hampton Beach, New Hampshire, the casino ballroom. Yeah. And he just, put his head down and essentially kept playing while Phil needed some time to reflect. And he did his time, eventually finding some people. He needed a renewed sense of purpose with the music, and I know he linked up with David Gans, and he first started becoming aware that other people were playing. Like, he just had no clue that other people were playing the Grateful Dead's music at all. And Gans is just kind of like, yeah, we've been doing it this whole time, and so I do have this.
Well, what year is that then?
That would have been 1998.
Oh wow. Okay.
So I do have this this one little clip here. I'll hold on. So September 1998 was this moment with Phil, and I'll let him explain it in his own words, and it really goes to show that this was the spark, much like when the line in Mississippi Half Step, lost my boots in transit, pile of smoking leather. Like, that's a real story. Like, that was something that lit a spark under Jerry, a near-death experience, which Hunter eloquently stated. I think this was Phil's later in life moment that really put things into perspective. So here it is in his own words.
In September 98, I suddenly hemorrhaged internally while at dinner with my sons. I sagged to the floor, and my vision slowly faded to gray. Through the haze, I saw the frightened shock on their faces. I flashed on Jerry, losing his father at age 5, and was filled with despair. I didn't want to leave my boys behind without their father.
Yikes. Yeah.
Or this is from the book.
This is all from the audio book of Searching from the Sound. Yeah. But I've got a couple other quick ones that just really show that this was that shift in his mentality.
My confrontation with mortality, it seems, had given me an invaluable gift, the ability to live in the moment without yearning toward the past or the future. I now know that the simple joys of being alive, breathing, seeing, hearing, are infinitely precious, and I'll never take them for granted again.
And 6 months later, after him collapsing, here he is coming out with his 2 boys and Steve came on. Hello, old friend. I mean, I really had to kind of focus on that when we were playing it earlier. I mean, I played it in the car earlier, but that's one I really have a hard time not crying like every single time that I listen to that. And, you know, it just goes to show that, you know, that moment of him collapsing in front of his sons. And then he's like, no, you guys are going to be here next to me for my triumphant return to the stage. It's just such a beautiful thing. And Alaina and I also recently talked about how, you know, we got a lot of jaded vets out there.
I was about to make a joke. I was like, yeah, because they're nepo babies. No, it's just a joke.
No, but there are a lot of people that love to say that. You can't be a
nepo baby musician, though. It's like you have to be a musician to be a musician. Obviously, everyone uses their connections to get places. But these places are earned.
Absolutely.
Ultimately.
Especially in the player field. Like in the pop field when you can tune the vocals and it's about
that's
the image. Right. Like I guess that
it's
occurs
more.
But yeah, if you've
most
learned,
nepo babies that are undeserving or whatever, they're just models. They're just hot.
Yeah, hot people.
So that's like, and that's fine too because we need hot people to do something.
Absolutely.
No,
sell these jeans.
I mean,
Bob Dylan's hot grandson is in a. No, play the music. He's in an ad with Beyonce where he's like taking jeans out of he's in a laundromat taking jeans out of a dryer.
God.
And okay, so then in all of my like elder abuse fantasies with Bob Dylan, they all start with the record store where I'm in the record store and then Bob comes in. I'm like, oh. and the most unbelievable part about this fantasy is not any of that, but it's just the fact that I would be able to confidently like come on to him as opposed to just like start crying or whatever a normal person would do. So that was my fantasy, but then it turns out that it'll pretty much never come true because Bob Dylan has already been on the block of my record store, but it was 10 years ago.
Whoa.
Because he was in town for his hot grandson's UMass graduation.
His hot grandson went to UMass?
Right, so his hot grandson went to UMass, and then for the graduation, Bob was got a lady cruiser bike and was biking around Northampton. And went to it's now an occultist used bookstore, but it used to be just an old man used bookstore. Bob went to that bookstore, it's just on the block of our store, and made a stack of books. And the old man was, as I would be in real life, just being like, oh my God, he's here. Like, I can't say anything. Like, let him just do his thing, otherwise he'll leave and put on his hoodie. So he, and so Bob made a stack of books. And then his manager showed up behind him and cut a check for the books. And then Bob brought all the books outside to the lady bicycle and put them in the basket and rode away. So that's why I'll never get to fuck him, because he was already on the block of the store. He's not coming back. He's really not going to go to a record store. It's like, especially a record store with a gigantic Infidels poster.
Yeah, poster of himself just
being hot in the 80s. Actually, every record store that's been open a long time, which is not mine, like a long time, they all have gigantic Infidels posters because Columbia was like, oh my God, secular music, like let's fucking go. And they all just like so much promo for Infidels, which I love. I love Infidels.
Classic. Well,
anyway.
I think we'll get to a little bit more Bob talk in a while.
Yeah. Sorry, what were we talking?
No.
Yeah, this is great.
We're still talking about
this is going to be multiple episodes, right?
Yeah. No.
We don't have new shirts to put on, so we have to be honest. It's all the same. All the years combined. But what were we talking about?
We were talking about Phil, and we were talking about 1999. I did have a little something that when Alaina kind of asked me to sum up what I wanted to say about Phil, obviously it was really hard, and I boiled it down to a couple points before. And I think as we transition and maybe talking about some more of our experiences with seeing Phil and whatnot, I just wanted to maybe read quickly my little blurb, which again, I've got a lot of things to say, and trust me, I could go on, but I'll quickly set the stage for I think what the rest of what we want to talk about here. So, of the core four, Phil always spoke to me the most. No slight to the other three because I love them all dearly, but he was my guy. While others may have been more concerned about the lasting legacy of the band and their name, Phil only seemed concerned about passing on the spirit, mentality, and creative ethos of the group. After an enlightened trip to Watts Towers in LA, Jerry thought deeply about what it meant to leave a mark beyond your lifetime. I'm not interested in there being something about me after I'm gone. In fact, he says, I'm uncomfortable with that. He'd rather have fun. While his name and spirit continue to live on in infamy, I think that our show aims to show that what he has inspired is just as important as the direct impact of his presence on Earth. Much like Jerry's brushes with death on multiple occasions, which forced him to look at life a little differently, so did Phil's scare in 1998. From here on out, he made the most of his time, passing on his knowledge and encouraging so many young artists who hoped some of this energy would rub off on them. The list of names that crossed his path over the years following his procedure left an impression on the improvisational music scene as the music forged into the new millennium. While there is never a lack of critics regarding the friends he surrounded himself with, I think that Phil's ability to unapologetically be himself and supporting artists who weren't trying to fit any particular mold was the catalyst for countless unique interpretations of this catalog. The chances he took with so many artists seemed to always be with the intention of carrying on the spirit, not the legacy. Because Phil was always true to himself, I feel that he was able to keep the songbook alive solely with his authenticity. And that to me was every time that I saw Phil and Friends, and I know you guys got to see him too, but it really didn't matter what band he was playing with. You just felt that spark. Like you felt like you were at a Grateful Dead concert. Like the members of the band could be different every time. And it didn't really matter that it was...
Because the choice of personnel had a meaning to him deeply. You know what I mean? It wasn't always like, I'm going to pick the people who will have the most draw. It was more about, I want to collaborate with this person for this reason. I want to... Yeah. He just had musical explorations that he just wanted to go on. What did he say in his book? He was like, the human mind... or humans crave danger. And they were punished for it. I got quotes. I got quotes. So we
Pull it up.
Got to bring the nitrous tank.
Well,
Can you feel how I feel? Let me know when it's part of the day.
well, the thing that I think is really amazing is that, you know, a lot of this audio is out there. In fact, if you search back to the topic of the soundboards and the archive and all of that, I compiled a list 9 years ago or so. If you search Phil Lesh free soundboards fish.net, somebody has recently made a Reddit post with all the same information, but you know,
you did it first.
I'm just glad that it's getting out there. But you know, as I was saying before, prior to Radiohead putting out in Ramos, Phil was dropping the heat.
It was interesting you brought up the Radiohead thing, because I feel like that the reason that was like an interesting moment is because their live shows, like their concerts, were becoming like their moneymaker. So it was kind of interesting. They like jumped the shark. They abandoned thinking about making money from the recordings and trying to get a Radiohead ticket was like hard work.
Yeah.
It was like, and because they didn't have like the technology they have now for insane on sales, people were sleeping outside.
Oh yeah.
Like there's like high school students from my school, like, oh, I gotta go sleep outside. So yeah. I don't like Radiohead that much, but
Well, I did get to see Radiohead the first year that I went to Bonnaroo.
sick.
First year I went to Bonnaroo, and the other headliners were Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers
Sick.
and Phil Lesh and Friends.
Epic.
Phil closed out on Sunday,
Nuts.
and you know, I want to say there's some Fish podcast somewhere where Ed O'Brien from Radiohead talks about that experience at being at Bonnaroo and knowing that they could kind of take some chances. Like the jam people of the early 2000s set the stage so that Radiohead could have that moment.
They did Type 2 at that show?
Well, I don't know that they did Type 2. He did eventually like work some of that into his solo stuff, but I know that Radiohead show, maybe to date, is the longest Radiohead show of
cool.
all time.
Which is weird
And-
because it's a part of a festival.
Right.
So that would normally be the shortest set.
Yeah, and they also took a lot of chances, and they debuted a bunch of that stuff, a bunch of those songs in Rainbows at that show. But
they figured out people are tripping. They're like, people are tripping. here."
precisely. But
It's a Saturday night.
you know, they, like I was saying, that, you know, Phil all that time though was dropping the heat. I remember that just, you know, he'd be like, all right, here's 3 shows from this amazing run. For instance, I know Alaina's husband Nick was at these shows at the Warfield in 2004, some of the only Phil and Friends shows, and I mean the lineup on that was incredible. Just I want to say there's probably like, I don't know, at least 15 musicians, strings and horns.
Damn.
Jerry's backup singers, Jackie and Gloria, the Railroad Earth guys. I mean, they're just, it's all there for the taking, and it's still up there, very, very crispy. So if anybody wants to go and seek that stuff out, it's all there. But specifically the year 1999 is amazing to me because now we've had all these recordings, but there's a lot of videos now that are also very crispy that are dropping on YouTube, and I don't think that it's getting enough attention, quite frankly. I think people are too busy watching, you know, not to knock anybody that's there, but they're busy watching these cell phone videos of the Sphere because
Wait, I'm sorry. What are their 1999 Phil and Friends or?
Yeah, there's like, you know, pretty much every different iteration that he had. There's a good, you know, even if it's just some dude in the audience with a camcorder, it's synced up to the soundboard,
That's sick.
and you know, by today's standards, it's pretty darn good.
Yep.
You know, I've got a whole. I was just out of curiosity. I'm not going to rattle them all off, but I've got an entire list of everybody that he played with in 1999. You can go look at philzone.org 1999, the set list, and see all the people that he played with. But
How many people from Fish? I see Kyle. From Cheese, rather. Kyle.
I think Michael Travis, Bill
Nice.
Nershi, Michael Kang, and I think keyboard guy too.
Kyle.
Kyle's
Kyle's
correct.
right there.
But yeah, you know, it was every little step along his. Well, he eventually, which will be a good transition in time, but he went on the tour with Bob Dylan, and as things went on, you know, it seemed like every couple dates he had an entirely new band.
That's crazy.
And whether it was, you know, coming from the legacy of one band or would eventually turn into something else, here are some of the bands that he was making his band out of. We had the Allman Brothers, Derek Trucks and Warren Haynes were playing with them. The guys that eventually went on to be Dark Star Orchestra, Jeff Mattson, Rob Baracco, who were
Is that what you
also
listed as Zen Tricksters?
in the Zen
Tricksters.
Tricksters. Yeah. But we had, you know, the New Riders of the Purple Sage represented, David Nelson Band. We had Hot Tuna, Jefferson Airplane, Jefferson Starship. Can't forget Journey. There were some great shows which you can find on YouTube with Billy Payne and Paul Barrere from Little Feat, and I think there's one that Derek Trucks is on there as well.
That's crazy.
Yeah, of course we can't forget my guy Steve Kimmock in there. The guys from Mo, of course, Fish, String Cheese Incident, yeah, the list goes on. Like, it's crazy that
And you're saying that's during the 1999 tour that he did with Bob, where they were both playing?
Yeah. And
which is kind of funny, because like Bob's whole thing is that throughout his life he's just ditching all of these lineups, and so similar, he was doing it, but he was doing it on like a weekly basis. Pretty much,
yeah. I mean, the first stretch, the one constant was Steve Kemmock in there.
Fair enough.
And there's a
Good
whole
call.
story which, you know, I don't know all the details of, but he did eventually leave that tour. But I think Phil's intention all along.
There's drama.
There's a little
drama.
There's a
It's
little
kinda
bit of
big
drama.
I thought.
Yeah.
But I don't know about it.
But yeah, and it he quoted Bob Dylan, actually, Maggie's Farm, when he left the tour. But yeah, that's maybe a story for another time. But I just really think that it's so cool that, you know, eventually Phil did kind of move on, and he settled with the Q after that. And the Q is one of the longest running.
The best band ever.
And I agree wholeheartedly. If you
Incredible.
never got to see them,
Sucks for you. Yeah,
I'm really sorry.
sucks.
I'm really sorry.
I love that I'm in the club for this one.
You're in
Yeah.
the club, man. You know, and like we were saying before, and those shows that you did get to see were really special.
Those felt really special.
It felt really special. One of the nights, Phil, they were playing New Speedway Boogie, and mind you, this is 2021, and we're still amidst COVID. Things are starting to open back up, but they're doing.
But as you may remember, Wooks they're not COVID safe.
No.
So this is like, for being 2021 and
Oh,
still COVID,
yeah.
this is like 100 degrees, so packed.
Yeah.
You're right.
And it's just like, it's literally, that's the amazing thing about Phil shows, is that the audience is probably as prankstery as possible. Everyone's yelling, everyone's making fun of each other. It's just the most amazing community.
It's also in New York.
Sort of.
Sorta.
It's Port Chester.
Sorta. But yeah, so they're playing New Speedway Boogie, and they're about to go into the set break, and I you know, had taken a little bit of mushrooms at that point, and I am in the zone. Like, I made it a point to get there.
You were
so
riding
I
the
was
rail.
right
Yeah.
right near
I was
Phil.
like behind the bar spinning around in a circle.
And I straight up saw tears coming out of Phil's eyes in
Damn.
that moment as they're singing "One Way or Another, This Darkness Has Got to Give." And man, I would be surprised if, you know, like that's a memory that's gonna stay with me for a very, very long time.
Yeah, that's
you know?
epic.
And the drop back into it. Yeah, you know, like every one of those shows, not to say that I've listened to all of them, but like they all have something really special. I mean, just the fact that, you know, you had these legacy artists like, you know, the Jefferson Airplane, the Hot Tuna vibe in there, these new young blood being pumped in to the Allman Brothers, playing with the guys from Little Feat. Like, that eventually carried on, and Phil just really stuck with that mentality of trying to keep things fresh and keep the spirit alive through these younger artists. And I love that about Phil. Anyways, I think that's perfect timing. Maybe we take another call or two, and then we can take a quick set break. And
Sounds great.
Cool.
Our nameless user had a question.
Nameless
Maybe
user.
had a
Ooh, I have a question. Hi.
Sophie.
Hi.
Hey.
Oh,
Oh my god, hey, sorry, I'm washing my face right now. My
Hey,
question though, this is such an amazing podcast. I'm learning so much. I'm so happy to see my friends doing what they love, talking. My question is about, you talking about Phil and integrity. I'm really curious to learn more about Phil's contributions to Farm Aid, you know, Bob Dylan inspired and everything. What was that experience like for Phil and friends?
I mean, I know
And
that
Fish.
I know that they were a part of it for sure. The Farm Aid enterprise, I think, is kind of controlled by Willie, John Mellencamp, Neil has his hands on a little bit.
Do you see those pictures of Neil from yesterday?
I did.
He looks so good.
Yes.
Daryl is a lucky lady. I kick her ass. Actually, I can't kick her ass because she's like 5'11". But I was just like, oh yeah, like the pictures of him with Joan Baez, and she looks incredible. And she's
Beautiful.
My like toxic trait is that I think Joan Baez sounds better singing now than she did when she was young. Her heyday, I don't actually. Doesn't speak to me the same way that I love old Joan. I think she's incredible. So yeah, just seeing them like hugging, I was just like, mom and dad. Oh my god. And with Bernard, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
My god.
Yeah, I was actually considering maybe replacing my Facebook cover photo from Bernie and Willie to Bernie and Neil.
I want to frame that photo. It's gorgeous. And who did like the Jokerman podcast? Did they take that photo, or is that from the internet?
I think it's probably just from the internet. But
yeah, I was busy yesterday because it was record store day. I immediately left the record store to go see Nershi. Bill Nershi with his wife and Jason Hahn. So I had no time for the internet. It was a complete surprise to me, those photos, everything. So I missed the boat, but
yeah, did you see the video though of Joan? She has some spunk. They're doing Rockin' in the Free World.
Yeah,
I think
she's
it's
dancing.
Her and Maggie Rogers.
That's what I'm saying. She and Neil are gonna have a family. They're gonna start a family with surrogates.
How about the I think you saw the video of her dancing to Cypress Hill as well on John Mulaney's show. It gave that same kind of
She's such a kooky dancer. There's a video of her being a kooky dancer at the later parts of the Rolling Thunder tour where like Bob is just like going like ugh, or like I've read him. I think I've either read or seen an interview where he's just like I can't deal with her dancing. But it's so good. She actually dances on the internet a lot.
Oh yeah.
She's like a TikToker, or her granddaughter is a TikToker, and then she's dancing.
You know what I have to say about that.
Oh, Bob.
Exactly.
But yeah, as far as Farm Aid, I mean, there's so many people that get roped into that whole event. Phil doesn't have any direct involvement.
We
but
need Farm Aid now more than ever.
Yeah, Lord knows Phil is on the mission, though. He totally is in support of the endeavor. Probably.
Yeah, safe to say.
I know Gavin is a
talk?
talented filmmaker and produced a wonderful, I don't mean to call anybody out, but produced a wonderful documentary called Not Fade Away, a celebration of, a celebration of the Grateful Dead's legacy. Did I get it right? No, I messed up the last part.
Got it.
I got it? A celebration of the legacy of the Grateful Dead, or a celebration of the Grateful Dead's legacy?
Second one.
Okay, yeah. So he is familiar with a lot of the people in this Zoom call, I think, from interviews. Is that safe to say?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, sorry. I just wanted to say hello, Gavin, and if you feel like, plugging anything else, I know you're always working on something cool.
Oh, I don't need to plug anything. I'm just
not
here
plugging,
to be entertained.
Yeah. But you're always working on cool stuff. I wanted you to meet Colin because the last conversation that we had together, you let me know how much of a almost documentarian on the broadcast side, and you do the set list thing too, and you ran a website that that maintained a list of every show in the neighborhood.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's amazing.
Wow.
But I recognized a lot of similarities between you and Colin's sort of dedication and willingness to really document every detail. I appreciate that.
Well, it's a pleasure to meet you, Colin.
Hey.
Nice to meet you too. So I would have to, I don't want to just based on your looks, I would have to guess that you probably never got to see Jerry Garcia in concert.
No, fortunately not.
Now, did
Lame.
you?
Sorry, I'm just kidding.
Well, as we were starting off, we were saying how eventually we hope that the stigma goes away. But have you encountered anybody where they were just like, "You're not a real fan. You never saw Jerry"?
I mean, of course, nobody's serious, but of course it gets brought up all the time.
Yeah.
And stuff, so
Now, did you ever have a chance to see Phil perform?
it's a real tragic story. I had tickets to see Phil a couple years ago, and I had to cancel last minute. And I always told myself, "Oh, next time he comes around, next time he comes around," and obviously that won't happen. But
Yeah.
this might be a controversial take, but I'm a Dead and Company guy.
Totally
so that's
fine.
been sort of
Hang up.
my-
all right.
Hang up.
It's allowed.
That's sort of what's been accessible to me in my years of being a Deadhead. So that's what I've been able to enjoy.
That's great. I mean, I think we all have our opinions, but
We've all gone to a Dead & Co. show
Yes.
and enjoyed it. We've all had good Dead & Co. nights.
yeah, I mean,
There's no way you've had only terrible experiences.
Yeah.
no, I mean, I spent a lot of time criticizing that band. But I also saw them 11 times. If I really
seen them
hated
more
them,
than
You've,
that,
yeah.
you've earned the right.
Yeah.
if you want.
and also I think that one thing that gets lost on a lot of these younger people is like, I don't get why you're criticizing Dead and Company. It's like, that's what we do. Like when
It's
Jerry
called
was
being a
alive,
nerd.
people
Like
were
a jam band
you
nerd.
know,
All
yeah.
we do is hate the bands that we like.
yeah.
Shit on them.
I know. It's like the second that you comment on John Mayer's outfit or something, and you just get told that you live in your mom's basement and
Oh, shit.
you probably smell. Oh yeah, I mean I had a little phase on TikTok early in the pandemic.
Uh-oh.
And I was doing some kind of fun Grateful Dead adjacent stuff, and man, the John Mayer fans came out of the woodwork for those ones.
If I save a baby from a burning building and Kanye saves a baby from a burning building, there's more Google News hits on Kanye. I'm fine with it. I'll be standing by the front desk sometimes being like,
anyone want to notice me?
anybody want to notice me? But
Is there a party that still wants to be One Direction?
oh, that's such a good question. Sure. Nothing bothers me anymore, man.
Do you still have that emotional reaction though?
Yeah.
Like Taylor Swift.
I was never going to wrap my Corvette around a tree. My high-speed crash was an intellectual one.
Yeah.
I'm a recovered ego addict, and the only way that I can be sure that I don't relapse is to admit that I constantly have this ego addiction every day.
Do you really want to hear that? Oh.
And I got it down to like a little bit of a science where I was just like, I can see this coming from a mile away. I know what you're gonna say, and yeah, it was just like really mean, like middle school insults.
Well, okay, here's the thing about Mayer. Mayer is not related to musically, but culturally, Mayer is an allegory for all of these Chad bros who get into Grateful Dead and feel like they've been absolved of all of their past crimes. That now they're good people because they're wooks.
The new age. Yeah.
Or hippies or whatever they want. So, yeah, it's like obviously there's going to be people who identify with Mayer who are also pieces of shit.
Well, this is true.
And haven't done the work to actually become good people, or just need to. And also, it's weird though because Mayer's anti-LSD, so these people all need to be dosed, and Mayer's not there to tell them. So, and it's they put the graphics in the sphere, but that's not enough. They need to actually dose everyone in the sphere.
No, yeah, through the. Can I do that through the seats somehow? Just
with the vibrating seats.
Yeah, just like mist it
Ooh,
into
yeah,
the people's...
mist. Yeah. That's what it. Yeah, I mean, when you're tripping at a show and then you think someone is hitting you with a spray bottle of LSD, but they need to really do that.
Well, I mean, the way that I see it too is like it doesn't matter how you got here; it's that you got here, right? Like Gavin, like you went so far to make a documentary about the Grateful Dead. I think that makes you a fan. I would safely call you a Deadhead.
Yeah, and also obviously your opinion matters. It's not like, oh, we're making fun of you. Well, this has nothing to do with you.
Absolutely.
I think Dead and Company, I find it interesting how how hot of a topic John Mayer is as a character. Like, he brings a lot of passion on either side of the fence, and I've tried to come at Dead and Company from the, like, that definitely sparked a lot of my renewed interest in the tone hunt, because I was like, well, shit, man, like, this is cool. That was my first experience on a large level of that or any level of that music live.
I love the Jerry Tone stories.
Oh man, they come out here and there, but like that really set off my, like, oh shit, yeah, I wanna look at my rig and like get that sound that I've always dreamed of.
On a scale of on a rating of 1 to 5, what do you rate Mayer's tone?
Well, I'm a purist.
Yes, as a purist. Like,
so as a purist.
Well, specifically, I want to know about the sparkly PRS that he plays. What do you think about the tone that he gets on Morning Dew when his like tongue is hanging out and he's like humping? He's doing the humps. Johnny humps a lot.
And the slug face. So, Alaina, to answer your question, as concisely as possible.
This is a safe space.
I know it's a safe space, because I've always kind of had the opinion that I'd rather someone go their own route tone-wise rather than get kind of close but not get all the way there. Like, uncanny valley is real for me with the tone, and so with him choosing to use like that really kind of squeaky in between sound a lot, and then use like the dumbly sort of amps, the circuits that he does.
Dumb bull.
No,
JK,
they're good.
JK, we
they're
love you, Johnny.
Like, good circuits, and but I think me personally, the number that comes to mind is like 3.
I knew you were gonna say 3.
Yeah, like, honestly, like 2.5. But I've really enjoyed it through the years in different ways
as its own thing. Like,
its own
it's
thing,
not pizza, it's Domino's.
It's like I when I listen to Grateful Dead music, and I've noticed this recently. Like, I definitely am a Jerry nerd, and more specifically like his sound nerd. Like, I'm here for what he played and how it came out through the rig. And so when that element is removed and you have like a Warren Haynes who's playing, I love, but when I hear that kind of bluesy element, I think Warren does frankly a better job than John Mayer does in that context, but those guys both sort of lean bluesy, and I struggle with the note selection in a way that I don't when like a real Jerry player, like somebody like a Jeff Mattson or a John Cadlicek, is that how you say it?
John K, sure.
John K. But
the purist tone I feel like is more comfortable.
At least get those notes, and like the tone can, Josh Olkin is like my favorite, because I feel like he goes with tone.
Shout out Josh Olkin.
And he puts the element of like extra jazz flair on there, and I just love that. But anyway, that's my rant. So,
I know that Josh was gonna call in. Hopefully, he calls in next time. But he's currently amidst like a multi-day David Lynch film festival right now in Chicago.
Gone,
so like every day, all day, watching David Lynch, and
that's great.
We love our David Lynch, so we send our love to Josh out there. But yeah, I think something that I was kind of thinking about earlier is the fact that, of course, Phil wanted to set his own band on its own path, but I think like tonally, like you listen to that There and Back Again, the Phil and Friends record with the Q, that doesn't sound like a Grateful Dead. The way that it's produced, like every little bit of it, it's supposed to be its own thing. Now, like they re-recorded Liberty on there. Well, I guess technically that never made it out onto the the record that was to be or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, they re-recorded Liberty on there. I'd play a little bit, but we'd probably get dinged for that on YouTube. But yeah, there's so many good songs that, of course, Robert Hunter had so many great lyrics that were just sitting in piles and piles, and Phil's like, all right, let's do something about that. We've got this pretty hot band. Let's take a stab. And yeah, we were able to bust out Night of 1,000 Stars with Owsley's Owls a couple months ago.
Yeah, it was
I was
cool,
pretty proud of that.
A lot of the regulars for the midway night get pretty spun out. And like I feel like when they figured out what you were playing, I feel the Spunyan sort of like levitated and like floated over to the stage and then started tipping really heavily. They were just like,
yeah,
this is epic. I'm seeing something special.
But yeah, I got one more little clip. Phil just talking about his mentality behind why he chose his friends over the years. I think it's really great. So.
After my recovery, I started to play music again as Phil, Lesh, and friends, drawing upon a pool of musicians invited to collaborate because of their flexibility, love for the songs, and empathy with the improvisatory freedom that was the hallmark of the Grateful Dead at its best. My vision of music has always been informed by a desire to explore the full potential of every musical idea. Songs seem to me to act as springboards to transformative improvisation, whether in an instrumental break between verses or in expanded intros or out choruses. As a band leader, I like nothing better than to plan shows in which I can string songs and improvisations together thematically, like a garland of pearls, and then encourage the musicians to step outside their standard way of thinking and play, completely in the context of the moment.
Beautiful.
Legend.
I just love that. I mean, you know, I don't want to just like flex right now, but I know that I'm pretty obsessive about compiling lists of certain things.
It's
and
incredible.
One thing that I think Jay was probably the only person that I shared this with, but like for my own sake, right after Phil died, I took every single lineup and I put them all alphabetically so I could kind of visualize how many times did I see this person with Phil, how many times. It's a pretty massive.
These are shows you went to.
These are all Phil shows that I went to.
It's the best list I've ever seen, Colin. I took a screenshot.
It's probably like 30-something people in there, but again, like the original 1999 is really spread out, showing all of his influence. But I mean, I have guys from the Chris Robinson band, Amy Helm, the North Mississippi All Stars, Mo, again, Dark Star Orchestra, the Zen Tricksters. We got Warren Haynes from the Allman Brothers, Government Mule, Jimmy Herring from Widespread Panic. You can just see this kind of family tree. Jennifer Hartswick and James Casey from Trey's band. Yeah, Carlos Santana I got to see with Phil one time, which actually wasn't a phenomenal show in my opinion. Barry Sless and Warren Haynes were also up there on stage, and I was just like, what about these guys? Let them rip. Too many cooks right now, you know.
Were they all taking turns? Is that
kind of not really? They would just be like, they'd be like, all right, what do you think? What can Santana hang with? So they're not playing any like super heady tunes with a bunch of changes. Like, all right, we're gonna play Not Fade Away and let Santana rip a solo, or like Fire on the Mountain. Yeah, you can play Mixolydian, right? Santana.
So then could he? Does that sound okay?
Sort of, yeah.
Okay.
But he's
it was
pretty
fine.
Rigid in his lines, I think. But
Yeah.
he's Santana, so like he gets to be.
I mean, it was cool. It was just a
played the
little
whole
underwhelming.
show, or-
Yeah, he played the whole show.
There's something
at Lock-In.
for me. There's something about this weirdly specific note selection that Jerry did, and certain people either kind of have that or they avoid that. And it's, I don't know what it is, but it's sort of like following the changes in a certain way. And some people lean, it's not more minor, but necessarily, but it's more bluesy, or they don't follow over changes where Jerry would have necessarily gone.
Well, I was very fortunate to see some people that I think really got that. And a little bit of it is probably because they come from the jazz world, where it is so much playing over the changes. Like, to think, like me in high school, visualizing the idea of like Warren Haynes and John Medeski and John Schofield and John Molo on stage with Phil. And we were at that show in Connecticut, and Amy Helm was there too, you know, Levon's daughter. And yeah, it's like those people get it. I mean, this is music that goes back for me. Like when I was first starting to click on, I know we've we've talked about like Eric Krasno too, like getting
Dude, I
those
love
Live records when I was in high school was like a
Yes.
huge thing where it's just like
It's insane.
these guys are jamming, but it's not jam music, you know.
But yeah, like Eric gets it. He's bluesy, but in a way that he still like gets the fun jazz part where you have to change over the chords.
Exactly.
There's just certain like and Derek Trucks weirdly is so bluesy, but also understands exactly how to do the like play over changes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Totally. Totally. And it's not necessarily
excited.
like all about the shred either, you know.
Exactly.
Like that's one of the things that I love about John Scofield, that is he'll just kind of like he'll do that just like hanging on, he's like making
he's
this
nasty.
face and just hanging on the one note.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of stuff that makes Phil light up. Like I think, you know, everybody in the band, I think at one point or another, that like at one point or another kind of had their opinion on people that did the fake Jerry. Like I know that before Dead and Company, Billy Kreutzmann was really adamant about not playing with fake Jerrys. But the thing that got me is when they started doing Dead and Company and I was listening, having been a little bit familiar with John Mayer's playing, like with the John Mayer trio, like his electric guitar playing
stuff, good amount for blues music, you know.
Sure.
With Steve, you know?
Sure.
Yeah. Sorry.
And the John Mayer trio actually played with Phil and Friends back in the day out in California. Wow. But yeah, I think that there's something to say about when somebody interjects themselves. And I know Jay and I we've talked about that a lot. A huge reason why we both love Josh Holkin, and
exactly.
you know,
like their own spirits.
Their own
Schofield's a whole total embodiment.
Absolutely,
of that.
absolutely. Yeah. And again, Derek Trucks is another one. There's a lot of people on this list of people that I've seen that I think that do that really well. Jimmy Herring is probably up there on the top again. Steve Kimmock is another one who I just saw. I just love the way that they interpret the music and not trying to play it note for note. But when I first heard Dead and Company,
but that's the thing, Mayer is doing that. He is injecting his essence, and that's what you don't like, I think.
Well, sure. So it was funny because when they first started, I remember listening to the shows, and just it felt like he was doing a little bit of paint by numbers. Like he's playing in where he's got to be in those places, otherwise he's going to lose certain people. And I was very like intently focusing on when is he going to interject himself, and there were hardly any moments at the very beginning. I was like, that's not John Mayer.
Did you notice by 20 for me I noticed, and I'm curious about Gavin's opinion too, because I don't know how long you've been following, but I noticed like a little thing where at first you had him like kind of learning the parts essentially, and you could tell he had done just a ton of listening, and he had a couple of the licks, and it was like good enough to sort of like go off on tour.
Yeah.
And I had a really fun time. I got to see them on that tour a couple shows in.
You're at the Worcester show?
It was when I lived down in North Carolina.
Oh, shit. Okay.
And so I saw.
Is this 2015? The first
it
tour,
must
you
have
think?
been well, it would have been what, 2015 or 2016?
The end of 2015, early
The
fall
end
2015.
of 2015, or I think. But it was Greensboro show. Somebody could probably look that up. But anyway, I remember like enjoying it, and then as I saw the YouTube videos, I thought that in 2018 or so, I was like, oh, cool. And I heard a really nice mix of like he did what supposed to happen over a lot of the changes, and there were a couple like bluesy John Mayer things that he threw
with
in.
the faces.
But with the faces, but it was like I was impressed at a certain point. And then although I've had fun at the last few shows, I thought it was overwhelmingly. I don't want to be like a hater, but I just thought it was overwhelmingly kind of, like, wow, we're going back to John Mayer trio lick level territory. But he also, and I also felt like he was overly comfortable with the familiarity of the sort of how the songs went.
Totally.
Is that fair? How do we feel?
I mean,
about
maybe
that?
bring Gavin back in, or anybody if they want to chime in with this. But
I totally agree.
Really? Awesome.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I got into the Dead before I got into Dead and Company. You know, I started going to Dead and Company because I said, "Oh, this is I was like, "Oh, this is what is available to me today." And
Totally
unfortunately,
fair. Totally fair.
I didn't get to go to Phil, but so that's how I've enjoyed it. But yeah, when I first started going, I was like, "Oh, this is nice." You know, it's what it is. But I actually would say these last couple years, not just Mayer, but the band overall, I feel like they haven't felt as constrained into being, you know, so faithful to the original. And that goes for Mayer's playing, but also, you know, bringing Jay Lane into it. And like, I feel like they've sort of opened it up, and it doesn't feel as like Grateful Dead tribute-y anymore. It feels more like its own band. And I've actually appreciated that a little bit more instead of trying to be
you're able to listen to
some weird little hole, you know?
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. I mean, I know my turning point. I went to the show not far from here in Worcester on the first tour, and I got shut out unexpectedly, and it was raining. So it was raining. I was so mad that, you know, I scrambled to find parking, and I got down there and I'm like, what do you mean I can't get in? I got my finger in the air. These tickets should be all over.
They should have been, but it was raining.
And they weren't. And I just remember.
And that's how you ended up on the 12 Tribes bus.
No, I was with my fist in the air, just shaking, like yelling at anybody that was in my near vicinity, like, this is all John Mayer's fault. Do you know the things that he had to say in Playboy magazine and and that? And I was getting really mad.
You're a truther.
And then out of nowhere, these two guys come out of the door, and a guy kind of just like waves a ticket in my face. And I'm like, oh, haha, you're giving me your used ticket stub. What a cool move. I thought he was just being a jerk, and he's like, no, I actually work for I think it was Zildjian or some drum company. He's like, I'm on the list with Bill Kreuzman. I didn't even use a ticket. Here you go.
That's awesome.
And so I got in. They were playing Music Never Stopped, and I was like, Jerry provides. Provides. Like, I knew I was supposed to be in here, and like, because it was, you know, a comp ticket, like it was a good seat, and like, I don't remember much about the show. It was kind of a strange vibe, but
it was very dusty in there.
It was dusty, as the Worcester Centrum should be. But eventually, I think, you know, I saw that one of the shows. Well, I guess they did 2 nights at Fenway. The first night, Donna Jean came out, and I was kicking myself. So I was like, I gotta go to the second night, and it was kind of whatever. I was mostly just really jazzed to see Donna. That was great, and then I think something happened where I was like, you know what? It's just the vibe. It's about just going and having fun. And they kind of exceeded my expectations the following year. I went to a show with Alaina at Fenway the next year. I went both nights. I was able to just walk up to the box office and get myself a ticket.
That's 2017.
2017.
That's when we met Online Ceramics. Because that's when Fenway had a lot. That's the only time Fenway had a lot, because now it's a condo where that lot was. And that's where I met Online Ceramics, and they were like, you're doing so much. Like, after we knew each other for a little bit, they were like, you're doing so much to further the noise bro to walk like pipeline.
Amen.
Well,
Amen.
Awesome.
But yeah, like, I went and saw them 4 times that year, and you know, I think I got the first version of O'Teal singing "Fire on the Mountain."
Oh yeah, that was at Fenway.
And,
that's cool.
You know, that
was
version.
It was beautiful.
From the videos I saw.
It was a really special moment, and I think at that point I was just like, you know what, I just gotta let go of some of what I'm holding on to and just try to have a good time. And I saw him another 2 times in the fall at the Boston Garden, and it was all just like,
that was weird though, right? That had the lights on, right? Something weird was going on.
I don't remember that.
Interesting.
I don't remember that one, but that was also when John Mayer on the bus. You might have seen the video on my page, but he's on his way to the show at the Garden, and I still to this day feel very weird about it. He's like, I'm sorry. I don't do acid. I've never done acid.
Am I on acid? Never been on acid.
Hey,
And in fact, he takes it one step further, and he's like, I can out-freak the freakiest drug users.
And I will out-freak the druggiest drug user.
It's like, if anything tells me that you don't understand what that is all about, it's you saying that.
I think it's important people know how few drugs I've ever been on.
And I did step back a little bit at that point. I still went to the shows and I had a good time, but yeah, I think
Wasn't
that there's
that the one where someone said they were gonna kill Bobby or something?
Oh God, I don't
Wasn't that right?
remember that.
Oh,
and
was there
everyone's
a
like,
death
they're gonna
threat?
yeah, I'm pretty sure for that
my
Boston
God.
Garden
I didn't
run
know
there was a
that.
death
Really?
threat, and then everyone's like, they have to play direwolf. They have to play. They didn't. First of all, the
Oh,
person who
my
made the
God.
comment, or they just said, I'm gonna shoot up the show.
There was someone
It was
who
something
like
like that. It was-
commented
which
that
is-
on a post. You're
Yeah,
saying.
or something, or
Oh
they
my
made a threat
God.
on their own Facebook, but they were like
Jesus.
nowhere near the concert, and then they got arrested anyway.
Good,
And now
I
in
guess.
retrospect, I was like, that's just like very throwback because people used to threaten to kill Jerry
yeah.
all the
Well,
time.
did
So
that- yeah.
it's just part of it's just tradition.
It's part of the great
Tradition.
event history.
So
Well, that
but
was
yeah,
the Lights On
the
show.
lights on,
Yeah.
and but then they didn't play anything that referenced it, kind of. Maybe they or like the reference was much lighter. They played like Ico or something like, you know what I mean? Like they didn't want to fight Direwolf because it's like a little too over, too much.
Jerry woulda.
Yeah, so I don't know. And then I know people were like being like, we got to dose Mayer. So I think that's probably what Mayer was responding.
Mayor only drinks out of
Yeah.
sealed
to-
bottles. It
Yeah,
shows.
exactly. Because everyone was like, we got to dose him. But I was like, that's not going to do anything.
No.
I try to celebrate that it. I know that like people don't like when like I like my little niches, but I try to appreciate the fact that like, all right, there's more people, and even if they are frat bro-y, like I've seen some frat bro-ies look at my pedals, and it
They're
seems
called
like
custies.
They're so thank you. Look at my pedals and like the soul comes alive a little bit, and I see like some inspiration there, and I'm just trying to like spread that guitar excitement throughout the world. And so I've appreciated that Dead and Company has turned that many
Mayer
more
lubes
people.
them up and then
And,
brings
like,
them
as
to you,
much as
and then
Mayer
you
has
actually
his-
heal them, and
No.
that's a good.
No, but
this
like
is,
I
this
appreciate.
is a pipeline.
I'll gladly.
No,
you
but
know,
yes, Jay.
welcome
Yes.
with open arms Mayer's sort of
Yeah.
trash.
I
along
like
the
that.
way.
I like that they're all at the Sphere too, because when they're touring, that means they could come near me. But now that they're all kind of just like they're just relegated to over there, it's like they're sort of removed from the population. Everything about
At the Sphere, they're in
the
Vegas.
Sphere, yeah, it just keeps them in Vegas, which isn't a real place, and you're just like, okay, that's fine.
Gavin, have you? Is anyone going to Sphere shows? I'm not, but no,
Not me.
Yeah.
Gavin, are you going?
You going?
Yeah, he's going.
You said you
I
going.
did.
You went.
2 or 3 weeks ago, I
oh
went.
my
Nice.
God,
Oh.
was it
Was
good
it so
time?
fun?
It's pretty cool.
Did you
It
get a
looks
vibrating
amazing.
seat?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, that's
So
my
wait,
boy.
is the vibrating seat hooked up to either the visual sounds or is
gotta be
it
the
the
bass.
subs? It's got sub mix.
So it's during like drums in space.
Jesus.
One of
Sick.
Mickey's drums, you might have seen there's like a video from a few years ago. One of Mickey's drums is like MIDI. So when he hits that drum,
Oh,
it's not just like the actual
Rocks your ass.
vibration. You're actually feeling it's triggered by him hitting it. So
that's
it's
cool.
Damn.
crazy.
Yeah, I really can't like shit on Sphere stuff. I'm excited to to see the clips every time I see
would
them.
rather go to Dead and Co than Fish. Like I'd rather go to a thing that I don't really care that much about and be like overwhelmed by
Oh, than
visuals
if- 'cause
than
you're a
something
Fish-
that I
yeah.
actually like the music of, where I'm trying to appreciate the
Well,
music and the
Gavin,
normal thing.
I feel like you as a film person can really lock into the visuals, but me as a primarily just focused on the band, I look at the Sphere as like oh man, it's not really like there's not really much going on stage.
The sound is supposed to be so incredible.
Yeah.
Everybody
like-
says the sound is incredible.
Yeah.
My opinion is it's not.
Really?
Wait, were you under the overhang then?
I was up towards the top.
Oh, interesting.
And I went last year too, and I thought it might have been an off night, but both times it was there's one specific thing that was just you can't really hear the drums very well, specifically like
Really?
Jay's snare drum, which is like obviously a pretty important piece of the music.
Yeah.
The backbeat.
So it's just When I went last year, there must have been something wrong because I could only hear Mickey, which was what an experience.
Hell yeah.
Psychedelic.
That's kind of scary.
With a science experiment because you never hear them without Billy or without Jay Link, so it's like a dead show with just Mickey. And like, if Jay hit a crash cymbal really loud, you could hear it. But for the most part, last year, all I could hear was Mickey.
And you were
So
high
that
up
Was
both
it, yeah,
times?
what was the placement?
Yeah, both times I was up, so I
Which
had
is
like the
supposed to
full.
be the best. Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah. I mean, the sound was much better the second time,
That's
but
All these years of just putting Mickey so low
Bastard.
in the mix, he finally got his
got his
revenge.
it was really cool.
Spanking everyone with the
Yeah,
vibrating seats.
We've had this conversation before, like what? Sorry, I think it was me and my coworkers, but like I listened to the Dead with an appreciation for almost the storyline of like, oh, and Jerry was going through this at this moment, and you can tell, or like, oh, he was really on top of it here in this year, and I like the mix, and I like it almost as a TV show where their lives are sort of part of the music and the performances and the performance quality.
Whoa.
Whoa. And so,
Have you guys heard the Black Peter they did right when Jerry came back from being in the coma?
oh my God, unbelievable.
Because he sings that line, one more day alive, whatever.
Oh my
it says
God.
Oh,
there.
and the crowd
Crowd
just
just
erupts.
Oh, beautiful.
Played back that moment over and over again. It's great.
Yeah, but that's fine.
I think that kind of speaks to what I've been saying about Phil this whole time too. Is just like the gravity of it all just really hit, especially in that 1999.
Yeah, I love post-coma Jerry's playing.
Any
it is so
emotional
heavy,
moment-
just like just
Bobby's
in general.
rat dog when he says, "Is it Papa's gone?" Or no, no. What's the night Jerry died?
That
and
show.
he's doing a rat dog performance. But what's the? Is it Blackbird? He does a Blackbird.
Oh
for
yeah,
him.
yeah.
And it's just like any of those like monumental sort of like when something happens and there's a show and the crowd is like we're with you.
Yeah.
And you can just hear it. You can hear it in the music, but you can hear that it's something that only the crowd could provide. Like it's not something from just within Bobby. It's like within the support of the whole. I don't know. Sorry.
It's like when Trey posts rehab and he goes, "I have myself to blame." Like nobody cared about that line until he came back.
That's so cool. I
like
love
so
it,
if you
dude.
listen to older versions of that,
I'll sit there and just
nobody
cry
cheers.
watching shit like that.
Yeah.
I love it.
Or just even the realization of some of the bust outs. Like I have a YouTube playlist I found that's just every single major bust out, and then like some of the classic one. My favorite one for the longest time, I get chills every single time, is Ruben and Charisse when that one comes out, because it comes in waves. Like you're listening, like there's people on the audience recording. You got to listen to the audience recording, obviously. And then it's like once it started, like it starts to actually kick
Then
in.
everybody
and people,
gets it.
oh my gosh, because everybody had that Cats Under the Stars record, and they never expected to hear that song.
By name necessarily.
Or the Unbroken Chain, which I also recently learned, I think by way of that Jarnow podcast, was Graham was the reason why the Dead busted out Unbroken Chain, apparently. Well, because he would go to some of the shows, and he said he saw a lot of first sets, but then he would have moments where like he was listening to some of the recordings, and he's like, oh, that's Dad. Like I know that's Dad singing. I like that song Unbroken Chain. And then he would go to the shows and be like, why aren't you guys playing Unbroken Chain? So Phil, just like in the quest to make Obama president, he's like, I'm gonna do right by my son, and I will just say like one last thing that I think is really beautiful about kind of the start of Phil's last chapter of his life was the whole. Now I didn't get to go there when there was a show happening. I went there once with Alaina while the club was closed. I went another time and sat in the bar. But the Terrapin Crossroads, there's a really good account of Phil talking about he was at Levon Helm's barn where he would do his midnight rambles. It was him and his sons and Levon and his daughter and Larry Campbell and Teresa Williams, who, you know, had played with Phil, also played with Bob Dylan when Phil was on tour with Dylan, played with Levon and the Ramble Band. And he went there to the club, and he kind of just had this awakening where he's like, this is what I've wanted to do all of these years. And I've got a little excerpt from his speech the night that the club opened up. They played the self-titled album from the band that night, and it was right after Levon passed, actually. And according to Phil, they were planning to do it all along, just didn't know it just timed out that way. But he said, I've been planning to do the album you're about to hear before Levon passed, as the inspiration for these rambles and for this whole place comes directly from him. When I played Levon's Midnight Ramble with my boys, Graham and Brian, along with Larry Campbell and Teresa Williams a couple years back, I was so taken with the family atmosphere, breaking bread together in his kitchen, and then walking through the kitchen door right onto the stage to play. Levon playing and singing with his daughter, Amy, me with my boys. I knew that I wanted to do something similar here at home. I spoke to Levon about it and sought his blessing, as it were, and he was very enthusiastic. He spoke of trading shows. We would go there. He would come here to play, family and friends making music together. He talked about the acoustics and the woodwork, but really it was his big, warm, open heart that made the barn so special. So much of the vision for Terrapin Crossroads comes from there, an intimate setting, collaborating with different musicians, multi-generationally friendly. It's safe to say that this place would not exist if not for Levon's example and encouragement. I'd like to dedicate this show not to him, but all of the shows and everything that we do here, the whole place, to Levon Helm. So I think it's incredible that, you know, it was just one night that he was there, played, and he just saw it. And not to mention that another featured member of the band at the time was Donald Fagen.
Amazing.
Of Steely Dan. And
right, yes.
there's a wonderful picture of them all, which I'll insert in the video. But
It's party animals.
But yeah, I love the fact that Phil, you know, never thought twice about including his family and his close friends and the people that eventually became his family. You know, I think that Larry and Teresa, you know, while Larry doesn't necessarily do the Jerry thing outright, he has the spirit. He does, you know, he's able to bring that music to places with Phil because he understands the ethos of it all and why Phil is doing what he does, and that's what makes the music special to me. So, what do you think, Jay? You want to?
Oh God, man.
Do we need to take a quick little break? We'll play a little bit more music.
Gosh, yeah. You wanna? Yeah, get Gavin. Thank you for hanging out.
Yeah,
with us,
thanks,
man.
Gavin.
And Eric, also thanks for being here. I'm curious, Gavin, what you're up to. Like, I feel like I haven't gotten to ask you that since I last saw you in New Hampshire, but you're always up to something cool, and I feel like you're hip to something like always that nobody's heard about. So share with me.
Unfortunately, not much dead-related stuff going on right now for me. Got a new film coming out in July or August. It's a documentary about a summer camp up here in New Hampshire.
Nice.
But yeah, still promoting
What's the camp?
Film. It's called Cake Creative Arts at Keene. And they're celebrating their 25th anniversary. But in terms of dead stuff, I'm still promoting Not Fade Away. We're actually going to have a screening up in Vermont this week
sick.
in Bellows Falls, if anybody's listening. And
Is
wants
it at a theater? I'm on
Wait, you
live
said
on
Bellows
Insta, too.
Falls?
Yeah, Bellows
Oh,
Falls,
that's not far
Vermont.
from me. That's cool.
Yeah, Bellows Falls Opera House. They're going to show Not Fade Away and then one of our short films that we've made.
Sick.
Amazing.
Yeah, Not Fade Away was super fun. Gavin reached out to me and came here, and when the studio was in its very, very early on beginning, I don't know if you've seen behind me, Gavin, but it's definitely grown a little bit. But yeah, he came and set up a camera, and we did a little interview. And you got who else were some of the people you got in Not Fade Away?
A bunch of cool people. Jeff Mattson, Jay Blakesberg, Anthony, who was just here. A bunch of people from up in New Hampshire. Jack Betson, if you know him.
Oh yeah.
Wolfman Jack.
Wolfman Jack.
Yeah, those guys are awesome.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, the actor David Krumholtz is apparently a huge Deadhead, and somebody sent me his way, and like I only knew him from the Santa Claus, but he's a huge Deadhead, and so
yeah.
he had some really beautiful things to say, and so that was cool, and so he was in it, and I'm definitely forgetting some people, but yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
Is there somewhere online where people can watch the movie?
Yeah, it's on my website for $5. It's terrapinsky.com. I'll throw it in the
Cool.
Send in the chat. We'll plug it in.
Don't be cheap.
In the links.
Buy the movie.
It's $5. I don't know exactly what sub page it's under, but I put just my website under there
in the episode. Dude, yeah, this is awesome. Yeah, I'm curious about just like checking my recording equipment to maybe stop it and then restart it.
Yeah.
So you want to like jam out some music, and as
Cool.
long as everybody wants to hang, I'm down to just keep hanging and doing more.
Definitely.
All right,
yeah.
sick.
I've got a little playlist here going. Here is a nice little transition. Here's Bob Dylan doing one that Bobby Weir recorded called Only a River.
Oh yeah, sick.